Hi there, these comments are for BE, and I am Michael from OTC, OnlineTOEFLCourse.com, and you're one of my 30-day TOEFL Writing Bootcamp course students, Hua, and we're working together for the next 30 days, and I really believe you're going to make me busy, but in a good way, right? So it's okay. Let's take a look at, I have the rubrics right here, and I have your essay. And I just read it. At this point, I'm going to put you at 4.0 out of 5, 25 points out of 30 at this point. Now, I'm going to read it in a little more detail. I may adjust lower or higher based on my closer analysis of your writing. So, looking at the rubrics here, the 4 says displays facility, the use of language demonstrating syntactic variety, range of vocabulary, occasional noticeable minor errors in structure, unity, progression, coherence, though it may contain occasional redundancy, um, or digressions or unclear connections. So overall, your writing's looking pretty good. Okay, let's take a look paragraph by paragraph. Now, you may want to take notes. When I make a correction, I will explain kind of what it is and then why. And then maybe you need to study a little bit more detail in the grammar part of my online course. So, to begin with, the world, but let's look at the question. So, many students have to live with roommates while going to school or university. What are some of the most important qualities of a good roommate? Use specific reasons and examples to explain why these qualities are important. So let's take a look at the first paragraph and we'll kind of go from there. The world has witnessed several altercations in different aspects of life. As anthropology, you're missing a word here. You want to say such as. So in this, if you put as, it sounds like a subordinating conjunction, and then you need to have a subject and a verb there. So be careful. Make sure you don't leave out any unnecessary words, such as anthropology, psychology, technology, and social norms. While some people struggle to keep pace with these modifications. And this is good. I like how you use modification as a synonym for altercation, and that shows good vocabulary. Others smoothly surrender and give up. Surrender means give up, right? You don't have to use both of these words. This is called redundancy. But you can have redundancy and still score pretty high. Young people are not away from these changes because sometimes, I'm going to say are not, I'm going to put immune, are not immune from these changes because sometimes they have to deal with unfamiliar situations such as living with roommates during educational times. Lucidly, the important qualities of a perfect roommate are a debatable issue. Don't you agree with me? See, that's a little bit awkward. You shifted from your declarative sentence style to an imperative sentence style. So I think that I'm going to call that a sentence shift. I'm writing down some of these problems I'm seeing in your writing. What if you just said, just something like this? The important qualities of a perfect roommate are a debatable issue, and these, how about, give you a different word, You know how you did with modifications to altercations there? I'm doing attributes for qualities, kind of the same word, but not repeating it exactly. So you want to show you have good vocabulary, and these attributes could vary according to the age of the students. It is true. Maybe you can say something like, you have is it true? You want to say, you have students' gender could affect their choices. So you have a word choice. You need to have the verb here, not the noun. So we change that. So we'll say word choice issues. So, and then in addition, students' gender could affect their choices. Undeniably, I believe that the most common qualities of a good roommate are supportiveness and quietness. Okay, so in this case, because you only have two nouns here, right, you don't have to use a comma. The and kind of takes care of it. Now, if you had three characteristics, you would say supportiveness, honesty, and quietness. I would definitely put commas in there. Let's get to your first body paragraph here. Now be careful here. If you say first of all here, you have to say second of all here. This is called parallelism, kind of, or symmetry with transition words. Now, if you just say a perfect roommate, blah, 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 then you could just say in addition in the next paragraph or moreover, and that's also fine. But once you use a certain type of transition word here, it'll force you to use a certain type of transition word here. A perfect roommate should be supportive and show emotional empathy to his friends. I'm going to just get rid of this and say bye. And I think empathy is emotional, so I think it's redundant. A perfect roommate should be supportive by showing empathy to his friends. Since students at this age need support from people around them, their roommates are supposed to play that role. For example, when I was a university student, I had to live in a dorm with a roommate because my college was in a country other than my home country. At the beginning, I suffered from homesickness. And was not able to sleep or eat well, which resulted in getting low scores on the first exams. If you want to be a little more specific here, you might say chemistry, physics, and English or something. It's always good to be a little more specific when you get into the middle of your paragraph. It resulted in getting low scores on the first exams of my chemistry, physics, and English classes. My roommate was so supportive, and he did his best to encourage me, you might say, to study diligently in order to pass these difficult academic classes And you might say here, during the culture shock phase of living in the United States or wherever it might be, so you can probably tie this into you might say something like that. To help me overcome my homesickness, he advised me to go jogging with him every morning to relieve my stress and to improve my mood, which really helped me. How about, let's give you some sentence variety here. Hence, giving me stamina to take on life again. Now, this is where you have a problem right in here. We can make this a little more concise. Okay, here. Now notice how this is called real, unreal conditions. In this case, in the past, you're talking about a past impossible condition, right? So you're going to need to do some grammar study in this area. So I think in this case, you need to use the past perfect tense. If I had been in these situations without a supportive person, I would not have been able to overcome these hurdles. This is a great paragraph here. How many words do we have here? Wow, almost 200. Okay, so in the last thing here, if I had been in these situations without a supportive person, I would not have been able to overcome these hurdles. Now notice, we're talking about an action, what's called an impossible past action. That's why I said had been. It means that you did have a supportive person. Therefore, you were able to overcome these hurdles. So this is how you have to use the past perfect tense to talk about past impossible conditions. It's good though. Your paragraph is good. I like this example here. Wow, my goodness. Your example is 136 words. And it focuses on that specific situation. So that's a very good strategy. Okay, let's go to the next paragraph. Second of all, being quiet is a crucial quality in a good roommate, which could provide a suitable environment to study effectively. Some students contribute their success to the partners who are calm during their stay in the room and offer their roommates the ability to focus on studying, while other students were suffering. I'm going to just put suffered here. Use just the past tense, I think. You don't have to say past progressive. While other students suffered from their friends who were making noise and annoying them. Maybe while these students were preparing for their final exams. For instance, my roommate was understanding that since we're in the same room, everyone should respect the other's right to have a quiet place to study. You could probably develop this idea a little bit more. You might say, for instance, once I was preparing for a comprehensive exam in organic chemistry. For instance, once I was preparing for an organic exam in organic chemistry, and my roommate was understanding that since we're in the same room, everyone should respect the other's right to have a quiet place to study. Then say something like, therefore, as I was we'll say high stakes exam, my roommate turned off the television did not play any music out loud, and even did not invite friends over during these marathon study sessions. So I'm just developing this topic. So we make this paragraph a little bit more developed. So we have, for instance, once I was preparing for a comprehensive exam in organic chemistry, my roommate was understanding that since we're in the same room, everyone should respect the other's right to have a quiet place to study. Therefore, as I was studying for my high-stakes exam, my roommate turned off the television, did not play music out loud, and even did not invite friends over during these marathon study sessions. You can say my roommates affording this peace and quiet. My roommates affording me this peace and quiet. And then say gave me the chance to study hard. It's a little awkward how you gave me the chance to study hard to achieve my goal, even though I struggled to master the content on these difficult exams. So in conclusion, life in the 21st century is only for the scrupulous, conscientious, meticulous, not for lethargic people. No one can reap the fruit of life without understanding the importance of choosing a good roommate. And then maybe use a cause-effect word here. Consequently, I definitely believe that a roommate should be supportive and quiet to have a successful and productive life during school or university time while he or she is living with others, where he or she shares living spaces with others. Okay, so I think we have. Now let me check the word length. I'm going to recommend maybe a third body paragraph, but let me check to see how many words you have here. No, forget it. You got 536. Are you kidding me? Wow. And you did it in 4 paragraphs? And that third paragraph, yeah, 174 words. So I think this is not a bad strategy. So if you don't want to have 3 reasons, and you only have 2 body paragraphs and not 3, instead of having 100 words for each paragraph, just make sure those 2 paragraphs are developed to about 150 or more, and you did exactly that. So I think that you have a pretty good organization and development, and you're showing what's called depth and progression of thought. So let's look at this. Displays unity, progression, and coherence. Yes, though it may occasionally contain redundancy, digression, or unclear connections. So I added some things in there. I made a few changes. There was some occasional errors in there. So I think that my score is probably pretty accurate. I think 4.0 out of 5, 25 points out of 30 is an accurate score based on what I just read there. Let's read it one more time. I'll probably make a few more corrections, and then let's go over to my website. And based on some of the problems I wrote down right here, I'm going to recommend some lessons in my online course. I think that can kind of help you move your writing a little bit higher than what it is right now. Okay, the world has witnessed several altercations in different aspects of life, such as anthropology, psychology, technology, and social norms. While some people struggle to keep pace with these modifications, others smoothly surrender. Young people are not immune from these changes because sometimes they have to deal with unfamiliar situations, such as living with roommates during educational times. Lucidly, the important qualities of a perfect roommate are a debatable issue, and these attributes could vary according to the age of the students. In addition, students' gender could affect their choices. Undeniably, I believe the most common qualities of a good roommate are supportiveness and quietness. I'm going to say here, let's say crucial. And make this, and this kind of, instead of just saying common qualities, we're going back to the writing prompts is what are the most important qualities? Right? So I believe the most crucial qualities of a good roommate are supportiveness and quietness. Now, there's something that you did in this first paragraph. It's very effective. It's called lexical change, tying sentences together with lexical changes. Lexical chains. Sorry. So you use altercations in this paragraph, and then you use modifications to refer back to it. Actually, in this sentence here, I meant to say. So in this sentence, you have altercations, then you have modifications, and then even you use changes. So all of those sentences are linked together through those vocabulary words. That's very clever how you did that. Okay, let's go to the next paragraph. First of all, a perfect roommate should be supportive by showing empathy to his friends. Since students at this age need support from the people around them, their roommates are supposed to play that role. I like how you said here, that role, which goes back to the support. So again, you're tying things together. For example, when I was a university student, I had to live in a dorm with a roommate because my college was in a country other than my home country. At the beginning, I suffered from homesickness. And I'm going to make this a little more concise. You could say, initially, I suffer from homesickness and I was not able to sleep or eat well, which resulted in getting low scores on my first exams of my chemistry, physics, and English classes. My roommate was so supportive and he did his best. If you say so, you almost need to say that. So I'm going to get rid of so and just say my roommate was supportive and he did his best to encourage me to study diligently to pass these difficult academic classes. During the culture shock phase of living in the United States or whatever the country is, to help overcome my homesickness, he advised me to go jogging with him every morning to relieve my stress and to improve my mood, which really helped me, hence giving me stamina to take on life again. If I had been in these situations without a supportive person, I would not have been able to overcome these hurdles. Now, this is also clever here. You said supportive person here. And this ties back to what you said in the first line. So again, you're creating paragraph unity. The next paragraph. Second of all, being quiet is a crucial quality in a good roommate, which could provide a suitable environment to study effectively. Some students contribute their success to the partners to their partners who are calm during their stay in the room and offer their roommates the ability to focus on studying, while other students suffered from their friends who were making noise and annoying them while these students were preparing for their final exams. For instance, once I was preparing for a comprehensive exam in organic chemistry, and you can say, and fortunately, my roommate was understanding that since we're in the same room, everyone should respect the other's right to have a quiet place to study. Therefore, as I was studying for my high-stakes exam, my roommate turned off the television, did not play any music out loud, and even did not invite friends over during these marathon study sessions. My roommates affording this peace and quiet gave me the chance to study hard to achieve my goal, even though I struggled to master the content maybe for these difficult exams. In conclusion, life in the 21st century is only for the scrupulous, conscientious, meticulous, not for lethargic people. Wait a minute. Let me put it after here. No one can reap the fruit of life without understanding the importance of choosing a good roommate. Consequently, I definitely believe that a roommate should be supportive and quiet to have a successful and productive life during school or university time while he or she shares living spaces with others. So that's it. So those are some of the minor, I didn't make any major changes. I mean, how many changes did I make with your thesis and your topic sentences? None. So that tells you you have a very coherent type organization. I'm at the 7-step system to pass the TOEFL IBT, and based on the notes, what I've written down right now about your writing and about the error corrections that I just did in this TOEFL Speaking Bootcamp video, let's see what you need to do here. What are some things that you can improve right now that can help you with your writing? Now, what you can do is, in the email that you see, if you want to discuss this essay a little bit more this week, you'll see my office hours. I have office hours on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, but I can't spend a whole hour on any given day with you, but I could spend 10 minutes maybe on Monday, another 10 minutes or so on Tuesday. So my office hours are Mondays and Wednesdays from 10 to noon. You can find me anytime from 10 a.m. to noon Pacific Standard Time. You just click on the Zoom link. You will find me there. I think Tuesday, Thursdays, you can find me from 12 to 12:50. If you want to talk about this a little bit more, you might be working on something in the Writing Bootcamp course you have a question about. You can pop in anytime. Just keep the visits minimal, 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there, and it's not a major problem because I do have a lot of grading. Yesterday I had 200 emails. I'm not kidding you. It takes hours to get through all that stuff, and I use my office hours to do that. Okay, vocabulary. I don't see you as having a lot of problems in vocabulary, so I'm going to skip over that. Pronunciation, that doesn't relate right now to what you're doing. Grammar. Okay, let's take a look at it. Let's see what we can do here. We got redundancy, sentence shifts, word choice issues, punctuation, right? Okay, let me look in here and see if I can make some recommendations. Yeah, I don't see anything there. Okay, I think sentence variety, I think, is a good lesson for you right now. And then sentence variety practice exercises. So 26, 26.2, you can probably work on maybe combining sentences a little bit more. You can do better in that area. Lesson 27, being more concise. And that means getting rid of redundancies. You can take a look at that. I think lesson 28, punctuation, when to use commas, when not to use commas. You can take a look at that. And then also I think lesson 28.1, making sentences more concise practice exercises. You can take a look at that. I think lesson 34, eliminating distracting shifts. Your problem was a sentence shift. So you can, when you look at that lesson, focus on sentence shifts and what sentence shifts are. Now, what I don't have in here that I think you need to work on, we talked about it as I was editing one of your paragraphs, is go to Google and type in the keywords using real and unreal conditions in adverb clauses of condition. Right? And study a little bit more about that. What you need to learn is really three things. Using real and unreal conditions, present possible conditions, present impossible conditions, past impossible conditions. Make sure that you know how to frame conditional sentences that talk about present possible, present impossible, and past impossible conditions. You need a little bit better control over that in your writing, and I think that will help you. Okay, listening is not really relevant right now. I'm not going to worry about that. Reading, not going to worry about that. However, though, if you think you have reading problems, you should be practicing in those areas, but we're focusing on writing right now. Okay, writing weakness, writing areas. Target and improve your writing weaknesses. Let's take a look here. Okay, you know how to write your thesis statements. No major problems there. I'd like to have you take a look at this. How to show depth and complexity of thought. This will give you some basic ideas on how to dig a little deeper, get a little bit deeper into your writing. And then 5.6, writing the perfect paragraph. I think that's a good lesson right there. And you're pretty good with your paragraphs, but you remember how I kind of developed some of your sentences just a little bit more? So you can look at this as examples of what we call very, very developed topics, developed paragraphs. And then maybe one more. Go over this lesson, how to make your writing more coherent. I think that would be a good lesson for you right now. All right, so that's it. Thank you for doing this writing practice test as one of my TOEFL Writing Bootcamp course students. What are we trying to do here? I mean, well, I guess the goal here is to help you get 30, 29 to 30 points on the writing section. I just had one of my students last month. Her name's Hannah. She scored 29 points on the speaking. She did it in 30 days. Now, her writing currently or before was 22 points, and then she improved from 22 to 29. Now, that's not typical, by the way. I don't guarantee anybody a certain number of points in 30 days. It just depends on how quickly you can solve some of your speaking or writing issues. But anyway, Bilal, thank you for doing the writing practice test. Remember, you can pop in Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays. If you have any questions, you can pop by during my office hours. We can talk face to face.